Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our preview series, our show in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal fixture with the help of some of our Discord members. Very happy today to be joined by three fantastic guests, as always. But I hope you had a fantastic day so far. Only a day or two away now, of course, from Arsenal playing against PSV in the Europa League, with the chance, of course, to reclaim, not even reclaim, but kind of claim that top spot for our own, with it looking very unlikely that PSV will be able to make it back with that home game against Zurich to come. We should expect at least Arsenal to win. But they are by no means an easy side to face, our PSV. Very, very difficult side that have been doing fantastically well. 17 goals in the last 4 games. Got some very exciting young players. And we're going to talk all about that and more with our guests. But do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are indeed new around here, with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. Let's introduce to you my guests for this evening. First of all, it's Chris. How you doing, mate? You good, Joel?
I'm very well, thank you, Tom. Yeah, good to be here. Excited for Thursday. European football back at the Emirates. It's always a good night.
Absolutely, indeed. Are you going to be there?
Yes, I will be shouting, screaming, everything that you'd expect.
Hopefully celebrating will be the key thing, indeed. Making his second appearance, we've also got Mike. How you doing, Mike? You good, Joel?
I am good, thanks, Tom. My heart rate's just about calmed down after the second half on Sunday, but all good, all good. Keep on winning. That's what it's all about, mate.
No, absolutely, yeah. It was a ridiculous game on Sunday. We'll talk probably a little bit about that and how that might affect the game in a little bit. And making his debut on the TGT preview show, brand new member to the show, it's Garrett. How you doing, Garrett? You good, Joel?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for having me on, Tom.
Absolute pleasure. Where are you joining us from?
Dublin, Ireland, so not too far away.
Oh, lovely stuff. No, indeed. Great Arsenal presence over there in Ireland, and good to be representing. Garrett, I'll start with you. In regards to PSV, they're a side that are certainly going to provide us with a different kind of challenge than what we faced in Zurich and Budaglimt. Are you kind of concerned about the likes of Cody Gakpo, etc., and what they might do to us on Thursday night?
I am a little. Yeah, I won't lie. I mean, Gakpo's been very good this season, and you've got Xavi Simons as well, who's also been very good. I mean, you see what Gakpo can do. He loves to cut in, take long shots, and I mean, I think as well he's always waiting there to make a run. So if they can get a ball through to him, we could be in big trouble. I know it's a home game, so that will give us an edge, obviously, but I could definitely see us conceding one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was quite brave, Chris, and said, I think I put 2-0 Arsenal in this game. And it's only because, defensively, we've still been able to remain quite solid. Are you expecting some rotation with the back line, though? Or do you think that Arteta, knowing what he's going up against in Gakpo and co, will actually prefer to kind of stay with our strongest 11?
I think he'll stay with a strong 11. I am an ard about this, about whether to go fully, full on or full Europa League. And I don't think we'll go full Europa League, but I don't think we'll go full on either. So I think you're going to see a pretty strong team. You're going to see people that have come on and done well, and they're going to be rewarded by being picked for this game. So I'm expecting a strong team. I've done the research on PSV. I mean, look.
Tell us about.
Yes, they're second in the league. And they, as you say, they've scored so many goals, but they only really get goals from 2 people, which is Gakpo and the Simons that I'd never heard of, and he's 19, right? So once you've worked out positionally on the back 4, where because presumably we're going to play a back 4, so in my plan we're playing a back 4. Positionally, where they're coming and where they're cutting in, then I think whoever's playing central defender is actually, they're the ones that are going to be most critical, because the wide boys are actually almost going to be pushing them in and forcing those guys to a point where we can control them. So I'm not too worried. The Udinese, whatever it's called, is not the level of the Premier League. So,
the Eredivisie was that.
That's it. My Dutch mates are going to kill me. They are, yeah. I knew I got it from somewhere. I mean, look, it's not the Premier League, right? These guys may be at the top of it. Where would that put them in the Premier League? Probably the bottom half, I'm guessing, right? So I don't claim to be an expert. So I think great. It's like bring it on. I think it's a game that when the draw came out, it was the one where it's like, yeah, that's the one, right? And it's going to be the most competitive Europa League game at the Emirates during this phase, hopefully. So yeah, bring it on. I think we just need 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great chance, of course, Mike, to kind of go and not claim top spot and secure it, but certainly open up enough of a gap that you'd expect us, even if we were to say drop points in Eindhoven, to be able to beat Zurich in that final game. With that in mind, do you think Arteta, looking at the fact we've got what you would describe as a winnable game against Southampton the weekend, that he would be minded to go very kind of strong rather than just say half strong or even just Europa League strength?
Yeah, look, this is critical. We need to avoid those 2 extra games that we'll play if we don't finish top. And that is more important than having the strength in this game is as if not more important than the strength in the game against Southampton. I think PSV are a better side. They've got more players that can hurt us. And hence, I think Arteta's got to go strong. He's got to go strong. I would suggest if he sees this as important as we perhaps do, and I have no reason to doubt that he would.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at kind of the stats of their team this season, Cody Gakpo, this is league stats, 18 games, 13 goals. They've got, I think this actually might be across all competitions, to be fair. Xavi Simons has got 10 goals so far across 16 games. You've got Anwar El Ghazi, who you might remember from, of course, Aston Villa. He's got 3 goals in 7 games so far this season. You've got Bakayoko, who's a 19-year-old winger. He's come off the bench, got a couple. Vitesse, who's a centre-forward at 21 years of age. He's got a couple as well. And Luke de Jong, who you might remember as well, 2 goals from him as well. There's some other interesting players. You've got Gus Till, who's more of a forward, has played at central striker for them for some time as well. He's got 7 goals so far this season. Joey Veerman is actually someone that I suggested Arsenal could have potentially looked at in January of last year. He moved from another side in the Eredivisie. He's got 6 goals from central midfield. And then another name that you probably will be aware of is Ibrahim Sangara, who joined them from Toulouse. Was linked to Arsenal significantly, Ivorian international, signed a new contract, and a lot of people wanted to see him join as well. Garrett, when you kind of look through that PSV team, where are kind of the main threats? I think obviously Gakpo comes to mind. Are you going to be kind of looking at him as having a bit of an audition potentially against Arsenal on Thursday?
I mean, maybe, but as we said, our defense has been pretty good this season. I don't think he's going to have an absolute run about and run over us by any means. But I do think a simple mistake, and he can be through. He's quick. He's tall. His strides are long. So, I mean, if we give him an inch, I think he'll take a fair bit. But an audition. I mean, I'd like to see him here by all means, but I don't know if he'd come. Because I think he'd want some guarantees, and I don't think Arteta is, in the game of giving these guarantees out, left, right, and centre by any means. So, an audition, perhaps, but I just don't know if he comes to the Emirates.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player that's got over 20 goal contributions already this season in goals and assists, which, considering we're in October, is mad. I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm not sure even Erling Haaland has over 20 goal contributions in goals and assists so far this season either, which kind of gives you kind of the bracket of where we're dealing with in terms of numbers. It is pretty incredible what he's producing for PSV across the Eredivisie and, of course, in the European competitions as well. But Martinelli on our left-hand side, Chris, is someone that you're just not going to see dropped at Arsenal anytime soon. And so therefore, because of that, if we were to invest, say, the 30+ million it would take to, say, bring in Gakpo, I think Garrett's right in saying that he'd want assurances and we can't give them to him.
No, and why at 23, because he's, why would he come where we've already got a main man who's younger than him? It doesn't make any sense for him in his career. So I think if I was advising him, I wouldn't be advising him to come to us. I think he needs to go somewhere that he, even if he's not the first starter in the first season, the second and third seasons he should be. And I think he's got so many options. There'll be people queuing up for him in terms of his signature. So I think he'll go to, if he comes to Premier League, he'll go to a good club. He may even go to Man United. I mean, it's a
good club.
Yeah, well, I also said he may even go to Man United. I think I got that bit. All right. It's like, come on. It's like, so I think, one of the things about having Saka and Martinelli is who's going to want to come and be their number two, given how well the pair of them are playing. So I think that's our challenge, and we're going to end up, as I say, getting another, somebody from Brazil or Argentina or somewhere like that, because they'll be looking at it as a step forward, and they won't mind playing second fiddle.
No, fair enough, Mike. In terms of the dynamic of the games now, Thursday, Sunday's becoming a regularity. Are you concerned that this could, again, like we saw at the weekend, have kind of a detrimental impact on how effective we are at Southampton? The fortunate thing we have is obviously I think we're going to be able to have at least one training session because we're at home rather than travelling back from somewhere like Norway. But considering what performance, and you said, it was pretty heart-wrenching at the end, and we got away with one really with getting the 3 points there. Is there growing concerns to you that the Europa League is becoming a bit of a strain on our fixtures in the league?
It was always going to be so, I think. I mean, we've got I'm a little fed up of hearing how dreadful our bench is from a number of channels. And our bench isn't actually bad if you compare it versus some of our rivals. I think it's actually quite comparable, with the exception of City and maybe Chelsea. So I think we've got the depth as long as we can keep people fit, and that's the problem. And Zinchenko is a miss, without a doubt, and we can't afford another with ESR out until essentially after the World Cup. I think we can't afford anything, any other major players that are going to threaten that depth anymore. But that's the way it is. Every team's got the same. PSV have got the same situation. All of our rivals in the Premier League have got 2 games a week and often play in their strongest team twice a week. So I think we need to get over it a little bit, and I think Arteta's doing okay in managing that. And what else can we do at this stage until January? We know we need 2 extra players in January, ideally, but until then, that's what he gets paid the big bucks for, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're spot on about the bench, because we've lost 3 key players to the squad in terms of its overall depth in El Neni and Smith Rowe and Zinchenko. Those 3 being out significantly changed the strength of Arsenal's depth. Smith Rowe can play as an 8, you can play as a left wide playmaker, you can play as a number 10. You've got El Neni, that I think, as we all know, is the most natural cover to Thomas Partey. So with him out, if Partey's not there, Lokonga has to play, in my view, out of position at 6 and gets exposed a little bit whilst playing there. And Zinchenko, has offered us so much already in that left-hand side, left-back slot, that it's meant that, yes, we've got Tierney and Tomiyasu, but like we saw at the weekend, if, say, Tomiyasu's not on it and we pick the wrong player for the wrong game, it can it makes things a little bit clunky. And I think it did a little bit on that left-hand side with Tomiyasu there against Leeds. So they're 3 key players. If you add them back into the team, I think our bench is actually very good and our depth is actually very good. But all 3 of those being out, and especially for Smith Rowe and El Neni to be missing for such long extended periods, is a really frustrating one. I think it maybe undermines the argument that our depth isn't there, because I think actually we do have decent depth. It's just not necessarily been there because of availability. Still, I would say that we need to go into January and bring some players in.
Sure.
That's for sure. Let's go to the lineups. Who are we starting with? We're starting with Chris. Talk us through your team, my friend, and your 5-star performer too.
Okay, cool. So I'm denied about the back 4. I think, look, Holdini's been coming on and playing well. I think this is, we need to give him minutes. I think the reason why we need to give him minutes at the moment is we need him ready, right? You've got both Gabriel and Saliba on 4 yellow cards. We're going to lose them for a game at some point, and I don't want him rocking up in a big game not being ready to go. So, and I think the Gabriel thing, as I said last time I was on, I think, Gabriel works really hard, compared with Saliba. And I think, I'm a little bit frustrated by the criticism of him. And he's basically covering half the field. Tierney's going to bomb forward, Zinchenko bombs forward, everybody down that side, their entire thing is going forward. And he basically is looking after half the field. So I think, everybody's picking on the mistakes. The one against Liverpool wasn't his fault. He got put there by Xhaka. In hindsight, you could go, oh, well, it should have been different. And even the one against Leeds, like the guy's 23, this is a high pressure game. It's that first time we've really got stuck in the old 1-0 to the Arsenal George Graham way, where you've got that real blood and guts and thunder. And of course, he's a young lad. Of course, he's not been there with us before, right? And he made a minuscule mistake, in my opinion. I'm okay, he didn't actually try and kick his head off or anything. It was just a stupid reaction. And I'm not arguing that it wasn't stupid. So I want to keep him going, and I want his confidence back up again. And I want him to know that we love him and that he's absolutely there for us. So that gives us a really solid back four, in my opinion. And that's there because they can hurt us. Again, Lokonga we need to bring in, right? This guy needs minutes, right? I would prefer not to play him at 6. If we'd had El Neni, we'd all be putting El Neni in there, right? Mo was, we kept him on for another year exactly for this situation, and we're just unlucky. Xhaka, I think we need that spine and strength going forward. These guys are not going to be a complete pushover, So from that point of view, I want him in there for his leadership. I want him, and I want him in there, to drive the middle, because I think without Odegaard, that's a little bit. Vieira's still learning how to do that with us. We've got to start Eddie, right? Because at some point we're gonna use Jesus, right? This guy again needs minutes, and actually, when he starts, he's got a good record. We didn't re-sign him without a reason, so we need to get him in there, and we need to make him feel good. Martinelli, I think we need some solidity on our best front three, and I still think our best front three is Jesus, Martinelli, and Xhaka. Sorry, Xhaka. Sorry, my teeth aren't working today. And Nelson again, right? When he came on the Europa League, right? When he came on for that cameo at the end, he put himself about. He put his, he's bulked up. For me, I don't know if he's going to make it, right? And I think he's in exactly the same situation Eddie was last year, right? Eddie came back, right? And it was like, is he going to be here? Is he not going to be here? Are the fans behind him? Are we not behind him? What's going on? And it's like, guy, mate, this is your chance. If you really want to play for the Arsenal, get up, put your boots on and play for the Arsenal. If you want to turn up and think you're going to be some prima donna, go and play for Crystal Palace. So that's why I chose the team.
Fair enough. No, I like the explanation. Mike, talk us through yours, mate.
This was the toughest pick of the year so far, as far as I was concerned, because of what we've talked about previously. I think I would never switch a goalkeeper who's at a game like Ramsdale had on Sunday. I think you've got to, with this game, with it being so important. And of course, you've got to look after Turner, who did okay against Bodo. I think he did fine and possibly dispelled a lot of the negative stuff that was going on. But with Ramsdale's performance on Sunday, I feel he's a must start for that. So that's why him rather than Turner. The back four, again, I think needs to be strong simply because the threats from PSV are undeniable. And that was the other reason I had Saka and Martinelli on either wing as well, because I think they'll pin back PSV to some degree and possibly stop them rampaging forward as they might like to. Whereas if we had Nelson and Marquinhos there, for example, I don't think we'd have the defensive capabilities that Saka and Martinelli can put in, nor the attacking threat that's going to hold them back. Eddie's disappointed as far as I'm concerned, even though he has limited minutes. He needs to step up. I'm beginning to feel that the gap between him and Jesus is as big as Lokonga and Partey at the minute. So he's got something to prove now. And this is the game he's got to step up. And I think Odegaard and White both came off early on the weekend. I think that was planned for with tonight potentially in mind. So that's possibly and Lokonga needs minutes, as Chris has already said. I think that's a fair call.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. What I would say is, what do you think this mentally does to Turner by swapping out Ramsdale for him?
I'd almost put Turner in against Southampton.
Really?
Turner gets it. He's a goalkeeper. Look, that's been my position over the years. I've thrown myself around a football pitch. So he'll get where goalkeeper mentality is, and it's like having a striker who's in form, just popping them in for fun. Confidence is everything, as much for a goalkeeper as it is for a centre forward. So I think Turner will get it.
Fair enough.
And he can play the other two games. Once we've done the job on this one,
yeah,
give him the second PSV game, the Zurich game, and some Carabao Cup action.
Garrett's actually agreed with you and gone with Ramsdale as well. Talk us through your side, mate.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I've gone. Well, it's a team we put out against Leeds. You know, I've gone pretty much full strength. I really do think we want to just nail this game. You know, get it out of the way, get the points in. And I mean, Southampton. I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I think, you know, to be honest, I think there's more attacking risk from PSV than Southampton. You know, I mean, they're no mugs, Southampton, but I am more concerned probably about this game. You know, that could come back to bite me, but yeah, no. So I've gone Ramsdale. I mean, he was great at Leeds, great. So I'm kind of on that same thing. You know, as good as Turner was against Bodo, or, you know, I just want to keep Ramsdale in there. I suppose my back line, pretty standard. I don't think there's any real argument for getting White out of there at the minute. At right back, he's been great. Saliba, Gabriel, pretty standard. I didn't want to bring Holding in. Same. I mean, he's been good as well, but for this game, I prefer to have Saliba there at that right centre back position. And then I suppose the only potentially, not even controversial, but, you know, Tomiyasu wasn't completely on it at Leeds. I think we all know that. But I have faith in him. You know, he's as we've talked about, as you talked about in the show, Tom. He's one of our best defenders. You know, so for that reason, I've kept him in there. Partey, I mean, I think it goes without saying, when we really want to progress the ball and you know, and obviously as well break up the play when they try to press us, I think Partey needs to be there. So obviously got him in there. Xhaka is another staple, really. His performances this season have been great. And then Odegaard, yeah, I mean, same again. You know, that creativity up front, he's been great. You know, that chance he supplied to Jesus, I think it was unfortunate Jesus didn't put it away. But, you know, just stuff like that. That's what we need from him. And then Saka, Martinelli. Yeah, just like Chris, I've gone with those two. Or no, sorry, I think Chris just went Martinelli. But yeah, Martinelli, same thing. Been great. I think he needs to stay there. And then Saka, same. Got a goal in him last game, so I think he'll be, you know, raring to go this game.
Lovely stuff. I've gone strong as well. I've gone with a backline which pretty much contains most of what we played against Leeds. I did put Turner in though. I think he will just stick with kind of being in that Europa League team. We'll just see him as kind of the Europa goalkeeper at this stage. But I completely respect people's thoughts around throwing Ramsdale in as well. White, Saliba, Tomiyasu, Tierney. I just kind of wanted to take Gabriel a little bit out the firing line for this one. You know, I really think he's come under so much criticism recently, and I think he comes back in for the Southampton game without too much of a problem. But I just kind of wanted to take him out, give him a breather, give him a bit of a rest. I know he didn't play against Bodo Glimt last week either. There's just something I think about giving a player when he's really in that firing line, just that back break, and I think he might potentially need that. I haven't gone with Lokonga. I really would play him in the away game, but I just kind of want to get the job done on this one. I've swapped out some individuals like Odegaard for Vieira, Gabriel for Tomiyasu. Saka doesn't, just giving him a kind of a bit of a rest. Jesus still playing, but in a wide area with Nketiah through the middle, but that is very fluid. I can see both Nketiah and Jesus interchanging positions quite easily. So I've gone with that. And then White, I've given the 5-star performer because he's going to be the one up against Cody Gakpo, trying to keep him quiet. So it's a great opportunity to try and get him a 5-star performance in this one. I really think it's difficult to kind of predict exactly what Mikel Arteta might go for in this game. It's very, very hard indeed. In the chat box, Life of Man says, I'm hoping Turner will start for the US at this World Cup and have a monster game against England. Well, if there is any game where he doesn't have a monster game, I'm hoping that it's not that one. Javier says, Turner have said that he's taking it as a challenge to compete with Ramsdale, and his previous performance in the Europa League was great. He needs that form to continue. Ian says, PSV is no pushover. It's going to be a real tough match. I think Mikel Arteta will start lots of starters and then hopefully be able to sub them to have fresh legs for Southampton. Temi, though, saying that these lineups are too afraid of PSV. Why can't Nelson and Turner play? And so Goodwill says, if we play Saka and Martinelli this Thursday, we risk losing the Sunday game. These boys need a rest. We're going to go to predictions now. So if you do indeed have your thoughts and theories about what indeed the scoreline might be come Thursday evening and scorers too, jump them into the chat box and we'll discuss them after this short chat from our new sponsor.
Hey guys, and as the support for the channel grows, so does the opportunities that come forward to support it. And I'm very happy to share that our new partnership with NordVPN is one that I feel is going to be very beneficial to you as well as it is to the channel. I used NordVPN actually whilst I was away with my other half on our honeymoon, and you, whilst back at home, are enjoying the honeymoon series. Now, I thought I'd timed that holiday perfectly to avoid any missed opportunities to watch Arsenal. That didn't happen because unfortunately Arsenal played Brentford. Now, my usual broadcasting app didn't work whilst I was out, and so what did I do? I used NordVPN, changed my geolocation, hit over to the UK. Despite sitting and sipping a nice cocktail, I was able to enjoy the Arsenal game without any worries of security. And you can do that too with NordVPN, who have very kindly sponsored the channel for the next couple of weeks. I'm very excited to share this deal with you because you can now surf the net and know that you're secure and safe with what you're doing. You can get all the latest details and information in the description, but you can grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/Gooner to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan and 4 months free. It's completely risk-free too, because if you don't like it, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Who could say any fairer than that? Thank you for listening, and make sure you get involved with our latest sponsor.
I realised as soon as I pressed that button, it was like, it's not the news show, but I've committed to it now, so I've had to go through it. I'll tell you what, I showed the missus that advert read through, and she goes, you know, it's all fine, except you said you were sipping a cocktail and actually you've got a glass of wine in your hand, which is embarrassing. And see, Chris, I could tell. I saw when that came up, everyone's like, no, he's not sipping a cocktail at all. I don't have a picture of a cocktail. So I went with what I had, which was that, as the best I could do. And I wasn't going to re-record it just to change the word cocktail to a glass of wine. It wasn't going to happen. Chris, let's go and hear your prediction, my friend.
I think 2-0 and a brace from Eddie.
Lovely stuff. That'd be really good for his confidence. I think would maybe keep quiet a little bit of his critics as well. That'd be really helpful. Mike?
3-1 I'm going for. I think that Saka will continue his scoring run, keep building that confidence. I think Martinelli will get one, and I hope Eddie gets one as well for the aforementioned reason.
Absolutely. And lastly, Garrett.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 3-1. I'm not sure. Obviously, as I said, we don't know who will play, but if Jesus does play, I'd expect him maybe to get a brace, and then, Saka to get the other one. And for them, bit of a toss-up, but maybe Gakpo could cause us some issues.
Indeed. So AMR Reaction says, I see a very close and intense game, but Arsenal winning 2-1. Javier's going for a 1-1. Harvey going for a 2-2. Arasiki says 2-1. Temi says 4-1 Arsenal. Jesus. Brace, Vieira, and Nketiah and Cody Gakpo getting a consolation. Steve says, I think this will be tight, a 2-1 Arsenal win. Amir is also going for a 2-1 Arsenal win. Eddie getting a tap-in from a rebound and a Vieira screamer. Rant is going for an Nketiah Vieira 2-1 win as well. Seems to be a popular opinion. Iron's going for a 2-1 or a 3-1. Depending on the lineup, regardless, it could be a tight game. I am going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal win. I'm pretty sure that's what I said on the lounge last night. So keeping the consistency there, going with a 2-1 win, get Jesus on the score sheet, and a Xhaka screamer from range after Cody Gakpo's actually given PSV the lead, and we need to come from behind. So that's what I'm going for. A massive thank you to everybody that's tuned in and listened. Please show my guests some love in the chat box. Chris, thank you for your time, mate. Really appreciate it. Tell people we can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, you can find me on the Discord server. and we chat, and there's a lot of really good stuff goes on in that space. Or you can find me on the North Bank. There's a bar by the entrance to 103, and you'll find me there an hour before most of the games.
Lovely stuff. Mike, thank you for your time, mate. And fantastic second appearance. Tell people where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
I'll be up at silly o'clock in the morning on Thursday night, and wishing I was in the North Bank with yourself, sharing a beer. And I'll see you on the Discord channel. Always great in there to catch up with everybody.
Are there any good Arsenal fan clubs around by you?
There's a casino that regularly streams the Premier League games. Which is always worth it's open all night, obviously, so that's always worth a little trip to every now and then. Yeah, it's hard to find fellow Gooners, but they're around and about. They're around and about.
In Australia, or where in Australia is it? Perth.
I'm in Perth. Yeah, there's quite a few I've connected with on the East Coast, so in Sydney and Melbourne particularly. But there's lots of English guys out here, so the football's quite strong here.
Oh, lovely stuff. Well, if you are in Perth and you know of any Arsenal supporters clubs, either that or on the East Coast, then drop a comment on the video. We'd love to hear about it. And finally, Garrett, fantastic debut, mate. Really appreciate you jumping on and taking the plunge for the first time. You smashed it. Tell people where they can find you, mate, and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, you can find me in the Discord server. It's great in there. We're always chatting away, chatting a bit of everything, really. Definitely recommend joining the Discord and getting involved. So you can find me in there.
Absolutely. No, massive thank you, Garrett and Mike and Chris, for coming on the show. A couple of people have asked about when Vinny's emoji will be making its debut onto the channel. The reason why it's not in yet, we have got it finished and finalized. The members have actually seen, we've shown them what it looks like, and it's got some fantastic feedback as well. For those that don't know, Vinny was one of our very close friends of the Discord and sadly passed away. We've got a plaque being put in place at the Emirates, and I thought it might be more right to kind of add that to the channel when the plaque actually goes up, so that people obviously that can't visit the plaque ahead of the games have still something to kind of, at the same time have got that same connection that weren't able to go. So that's the plan in place. It's all ready. I'm just waiting for confirmation from Arsenal when the plaque is going to be put into the celebration corner along from the Thierry Henry statue. It's going to go kind of around the side of the stadium because it's so busy around that corner. I actually went out and looked the other day about where it's going to go, and there's so many names and that around the celebration corner. But if you follow the Thierry Henry statue, you'll see it going down the left-hand side around the right side of the stadium. So that's where it's going to go up. So look forward to hearing some news and updates on that. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for the kind comments and words in the chat box, as always. Do drop a like on the video. Do show the panel some love in the comment section as well. And you can find them, of course, in the Discord server, which if you want to help support the channel, you can join up as a member. If you become a TGT ambassador or an expert member, you get to come on the previews and join the Discord server too. It's a great family and community and certainly worth your time. We will see you again very, very soon, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m, bright and early. See you then. Have a good one. And as always, up the Arsenal.